Alright, let's rock and roll. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Not So Fucking Ordinary Show, where I take the time to interview extraordinary minds, and in this case, we have the very exceptional Alex Woodson, who is not only a business owner, top personal trainer, but in my opinion, most respectably, IFBB Pro in Physique for men's, and I think that's just unbelievable. This is an opportunity for me to really dive deep into Alex's mind. This is someone who I've looked up to for a while now from afar. He doesn't know it, but he's been an inspiration for me in my own personal fitness journey, and now I get the opportunity to peek under the hood and see what makes this guy tick. Alex, how you doing, man?
Thank you.
All right, yeah, absolutely. So what I want to do is kind of go through some introductions, let people know who you are and kind of your fitness story, the origin story, if you will. And then I want to, like I said, dive into what makes you tick and what makes you perform at such a high level consistently.
Sure.
So let's dive in.
Sure, sounds good.
How long have you been training?
I'm gonna date myself a lot.
That's all right. I think it's important to, because it's a part of your story.
Yeah, I think most of my followers know kind of my age, so I'm 48 years old now. But I started lifting when I was about 18, high school.
Okay.
Yeah, weight training class, so that's how I got started.
And I just want to repeat that for everyone. He said he's 48 years old. It's hard to believe, but 48 years old, it's incredible. So you started at a young age.
Yep.
Why'd you get started?
I think most kids or teenagers, when they start lifting, they just want to get bigger muscles, I guess, stronger, you know. That's pretty much it. I think I was, when I look back, I probably watched certain movies, certain characters like Incredible Hulk or something. I was kind of like, wow, the physique on that guy. So you want to aspire to kind of like have big muscles and stuff like that. So, but then when I got into high school and they offered a weight training class, I said, awesome. I can go learn, lift weights, get stronger, try to build muscles. So ended up being my favorite class. So I not only had that, but then after school, you'd find me in the weight room as well, junior and senior year. So.
Okay. Did you play any sports?
I did not. I did gymnastics for 1 year. But other than that, it was pretty much, when I started lifting weights, everything else didn't have much interest.
Yeah.
I just wanted to lift weights.
So you started at a young age. How long did it take for you to start to see results and kind of fine-tune the physique that made you proud when you looked in the mirror?
I don't know. I think my body responded pretty quickly.
Okay.
I'd say I had pretty good genetics. But yeah, I think in my 18 to 20, my body changed pretty quickly.
Okay.
And I was pretty consistent with working out back then. So, a couple years into it.
Okay. How often per week were you hitting the gym?
Back then?
Yeah.
Probably 5 days a week.
The reason why I asked that is because, I dabble in fitness from time to time, and a lot of my buddies ask me, how often do you go? And they think that they can get results going once or twice, or kind of half-assing it and eating what they want. And you and I both know, you especially, it's not that simple.
Right.
And it takes a tremendous amount of discipline, first and foremost, but secondly, a lot of patience.
Sure.
And so the reason why I was curious to know how often, what your frequency was, is for that reason. I think a lot of people will look at someone like you with such an unbelievable physique, and immediately they say, I can't do that, it's not for me, it's impossible. And that's not the truth, but they have to first come to terms with the fact that it takes a shit ton of hard work, discipline. Education is important, but that comes along the way.
Right.
And so I just wanted people to know the truth behind, you've been doing this for 30 years, essentially day in, day out, from a workout in anaerobic perspective,
Mhm.
a cardiovascular perspective, the nutrition, the supplementation. This is literally a full-time job for you,
Right.
which is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I mean, especially a lot of my newer followers, they just see the results of what has appeared over the last few years, right? But they don't know the history behind how I got here. And I have like a lot of my transformation pictures,
Mm-hmm.
comparing before and after, are my most viewed and liked pictures, right?
Yeah,
So
incredible.
during that 30 years, I've had ups and downs, just like with everybody, life and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's always been kind of a part of my life. I think maybe the most time I've taken off is maybe 3 years, out of 30. But between there, it was always pretty much a part of my life.
Okay.
Going to the gym, trying to get better, learn more.
So when you fell off the horse for a little bit, you said 3 years.
Mhm.
What was it? What was the catalyst that got you back onto the horse and training again and really going back after it?
I felt out of shape, and having been in shape before, I just wanted to make a change, get back to where I felt myself again.
Okay.
So that was pretty much it. I think I came across guy's physique online, and I said, great physique, it looks attainable. I want to get to that point.
And who was that?
So, a friend of mine, Fam, goes by FamFlex on
Okay.
Instagram.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's another story. I mean, so he was my inspiration. Really, I actually printed out a picture,
Mm-hmm.
to have as my goal. But now it's being in the fitness industry and competing and going to shows and expos. I've gotten to meet so many different pros or people in the fitness industry, and so it came full circle where I got to actually meet him.
That's great.
I told him the story, and another funny thing that intertwines both of us is I saw his interview on the simplyshredded.com website, and then it must have been 2 years later that website contacted me to do an interview, and so it started with me wanting to get really back in shape after that 3-year layoff, seeing this guy's physique, reading about him and his interview on that website, and a couple years later, there I am on that same website.
That's such a great story. And I remember specifically when I saw that article by Simply Shredded that came out, you had that iconic Christmas tree back shot, and of course that with the red shorts, the frontal showing your abs, I was like, wow, that's incredible. It's funny because you were someday aspiring to meet your role model, and eventually you did. I saw you years after your interview with Simply Shredded, and I've always respected you, like I said, and now here I am meeting you and getting to know you. So it's funny how the circle of life works sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
That's very cool. So, training your whole life, how old were you when you first started your first competition?
Actually, I did one bodybuilding competition when I was 18.
Okay.
I was 18 or 19. Yeah, so I just fell in love with lifting weights and bodybuilding in high school. Might have been 17, 18, right?
Okay.
And of course, way before social media existed, the internet or anything, it was just magazines back then.
Yeah.
Books or magazines. So of course, you go to the grocery store every month, get the latest flex, muscle fitness, muscular development, and you just read up on these articles and these workouts, supplements, diets, and do your best to kind of implement them, try them out, and see if they work, see how they work for you. But so what was it?
So what was your, so going back to when you were 18, you're first starting to compete, what was your goal at the time? Was your goal to be a professional bodybuilder, or was your goal to land one of those covers? What was it? Because I know that was the big thing. Now it's, can I get 1 million followers on Instagram? But even 10 years ago, it was amazing.
There was nothing, like when I did that show back then, when I was 18, I did a show because somebody said I had a pretty good physique for my age, and
Sure.
I should try to compete.
Yeah, so too.
When I was in love with bodybuilding, so I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I don't know, when I look back, I don't know why I didn't, like, why that was my only show, like, why I didn't do more. I'm not sure. So the next time I competed wasn't until I was 42.
Oh, wow.
So
That's very interesting. Wow. So even with that whole gap, do you feel like you still train as if you were to compete? I feel like once you do a show once, you keep some level of standards. Maybe not to the extreme where you're going through peak week and loading carbs and all that stuff, but I feel like once you've hit some sort of pinnacle in whatever it is you do, you now hold yourself to very high standard. Do you feel like you did that after you first competed, or were you so young it was just like check the box and you just kept
I
training?
think I was still too young and too fresh into it.
Sure.
I think, I still loved it, but the drive wasn't to try to do another show to get better. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It was just young, teenage kid, want to do other things.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to have it all figured out.
But I still love lifting. So
Okay.
I lifted every day. Still had best friend, training partners, go lift almost every day. So
That's great. So now that you competed almost 20 something years later, tell me about that next show. Was that in bodybuilding? Was Men's Physique out at that time? What kind of a show was that?
yeah, that was Men's Physique, and I had been so far like separated from the competitive bodybuilding and the sport. Like I wasn't like staying up to date with it.
Mhm.
Probably, maybe for 10 years or something.
Sure.
I still went and lifted and stayed in shape, but I didn't follow the sport as much. And so when I moved back to Minnesota in 2012, when I started working at the gym, some of the other staff there brought up that he did a show the previous year, and the division was called Men's Physique. And I was like, it's in a bodybuilding show. He was like, yeah. So what is this Men's Physique? So in my mind, it was just still bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to compete, it's bodybuilding. So then he explained what Men's Physique was. I still didn't really get it, but he said that it's more like a beach body look, and board shorts, swim shorts, or something. I said, okay. He goes, well, there's a show coming up in like a couple months. You should go check it out. Okay. So a couple months later, I went to the show just to kind of see what this division was all about.
Mhm.
I thought, I don't know if I want to do bodybuilding. I mean, I'm 42 years old. For me to put that time and effort to try to get big. So I don't know, at this point in my life, that's what I want to do, but what is this new division all about? So I had to go and kind of research. Went to the show just to see what level competition those physiques are.
Yeah. Was that like the NBC North Star in
It
Burnsville?
was actually North Star.
Okay.
North Star, yeah.
Cool.
And I went there and saw it, and I just thought, I think this is something that I can do. It's something I'm interested in. That's the look that I'm going for.
Mhm.
So after seeing that show and really deciding I wanted to do it, I thought I had the experience over the years of training myself, but even on my own trying to get very lean, I've never been able to accomplish that level of leanness.
Sure.
So I knew I needed help I had to change something in the diet. Right? So I reached out to somebody in the gym, asked him if he would coach me, because I had a little background on him through finding out about him through other people in the gym. And so I went up and asked him if he would coach me. That's something that he would do. He said, yeah. So he coached me for my first show, and he's coached me for every show since then.
That's awesome.
So, but yeah, I mean, that was the biggest game changer, is having a coach write you a plan, a knowledgeable coach that has had experience and knew what he was doing, and then just following that plan and having a coach, you're more accountable as well. So, and then checking in, having them, look at my physique from time to time through prep. And so that was the big game changer for me. I was able to achieve that leanness that I wasn't able to achieve before.
Yeah.
And it worked out for the show.
Right. So that was in 2012.
I moved back in 2012. I think I went to the North Star in the fall of 2013.
Okay.
I decided to compete, and I got with my coach and decided to do the Gopher State the following spring, April 2014.
Okay. I'm trying to connect the dots on how quickly you went from deciding to compete to competing, and now all of a sudden you're IFBB pro and you're on the Arnold Classic stage, one of the greatest stages in the world. I'm like, that's unbelievable.
That's a whirlwind. That pretty much happened in like 6 months.
Yeah.
Less than 6 months.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, it's kind of a blessing and a
Right,
curse.
what was that feeling? I'm smiling so big for you because I can't imagine going. It's incredible. I look at it as, here's a guy who has found a passion, a love, who out of not notoriety or for social media fame, just liked to go to the gym and pick up weights and put his body through motion. Fast forward 25, 35, 40 years later, he now has an opportunity to show off his knowledge and his hard work, but really fine-tune it with the help of a coach, and boom, reveal something truly amazing, and then present it on, like I said, the Arnold Classic stage, which is one of the greatest stages in the world. And in such of course, it seems like a split second, but it was really your whole career or your whole life building up to this, in my opinion, which is just makes your story so much cooler. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, when I look back at it, everything just happened so fast from the point when I did my first show, I mean, to the 3 years after that. It was like nonstop prepping and competing. I mean, I think I did 12 shows in 3 years, and the amount of experience and memories that I acquired through all that is kind of mind-boggling. When I look back at it, it's surreal.
Yeah, I can't imagine. For anyone who isn't really familiar with that world and what it is like to compete once a year, let alone 3-4 times a year, I mean, just top of mind, it's got to be similar to a rock band or a musician group going on tour all year round, but not just 1 year, but 2 years or 3 years, and never really being always traveling. Like, the mind is always invested into this one part of your life.
Right.
It is complete sacrifice. It is the definition from almost all comforts, especially the nutrition piece. Mm-hmm. And so I want to segue a little bit into kind of the mindset that it takes to go through something like that. And I think I'll start with asking you about how important discipline is going through that. Let's just focus on those 3 years. Like, how important was discipline, and do you think you could have survived without it?
I wouldn't have been able to reach the level I reached without it. Yeah. So, very important.
So give me some details in terms of like what a normal day looked like, because I know that was kind of a broad question to ask you. How important was discipline? Let's break it down and kind of reverse engineer some of it a little bit. break down what a typical day would look like when you're getting ready for a show. And I know some weeks are more intense than others, but feel free to just pick one that is a good example to show and illustrate to people how much discipline it really takes. It's okay to kind of pat yourself on the back here. I want you to boast a little bit because, to me, it's almost like, I don't want to misspeak here, but there's a very similar level of discipline that it takes to do what you did compared to like going into the Marines. Like, it is unbelievable amount of discipline and mental focus that is required. So I just want you to kind of explain from a nutrition standpoint, a supplementation standpoint, a workout regimen, cardio, sleep regimen, water, sodium, the whole shebang. And you don't have to go into each in detail, but you kind of know where I'm going. I want people to understand how much focus and discipline it really takes, because they see people on Instagram with the perfect physique and they say that can never be me, or they're lucky, or the worst excuse is they were born that way. It's very rare to just be born that way. So I just want to use this as an opportunity for you to explain how much work it really is.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, and I get a lot of people that I do some online coaching and personal training that want to compete, and I have to be realistic and tell them honestly what it takes, and if they're ready for that, that type of commitment and sacrifice and discipline. So I think it comes down, you got to find why you want to do it. That has to be a strong thing that you can pull from, because there are going to be times, a lot of times, where you want to get up or not do the cardio or not make the right choice for the food and stuff. So that always has to be something you can draw from to get you through that contest prep. But yeah, I guess a typical day when you're really, down in the trenches, getting close to a show, sleep is definitely important. So you got to make sure you get your sleep. But then you're waking up much earlier than usual. I would do fasted cardio in the morning, and sometimes when I'm getting close to a show, it would be 60 minutes in the morning, and then I would eat my first meal. All my meals were timed, by my coach. Eat this at this time. Another couple hours later, eat this.
And every macronutrient.
Everything measured out. I would do meal prep twice a week. Every meal is in its own container, previously weighed out, measured out. So it has to be very structured. It gets to a point where you're almost just very robotic as a human can be.
Mm-hmm.
Get up at this time, get the cardio done by this time, get your first meal in by this time, and then the rest of the day is very much like that. I was fortunate to be in a field where, as a personal trainer, my work environment is the gym. So I could train a client or two, and then if I had an hour or two break, I could do my lift or my extra cardio. And so, but there's plenty of other people that don't have that luxury,
right?
But there's people that can't get it done, or find a way to make that as an excuse. But I've worked with plenty that, they're working 80 hours a week, and they're still finding ways to do their cardio, their meal prep, and doing the things they need to do to make that progress so that they're the best when they get on stage. So, yeah, you have to find and draw from that reason why you want to do it.
That's great. As you're going through this, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and I can't imagine the cravings that you would get. You're eating damn near the same exact thing every single day. I can't imagine. At first it's probably, the sweets and the pizza and stuff like that, but as you get closer to the show, it's probably really strange cravings, like texture, like you want something that's crunchy, or, like it gets that extreme. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So reflecting on that process and the level of discipline that it took to go through that, would you say that there, besides just the physical appearance as the result of going through that process, do you think that there was any other takeaways that you got, whether that's just more confidence or the ability to follow through with the goal, or you feel like you can communicate with people better because now you have this sense of confidence, like, and just any example or anything in particular that you gained from that process?
A lot of things that you listed, confidence comes with it. For me, as a trainer and as a coach, everything has been used for knowledge and experience that I can pass on to clients, or even family members or friends, about nutrition. So that's been a big one that I've taken away from it. It's helped my business by my experiences through computing, for sure. So not only the knowledge it's given me and the experience, but also the exposure I've gotten. It's grown my following base tremendously. So it's helped in that way as well, for sure.
Great. So you've, like I said, you're a business owner, personal trainer, you have what I assume a lot of clients, been on the Arnold Classic stage. What's next for you? What goals do you have?
Really, it's
and it doesn't have to be in fitness. Just in general.
No, it's like when you're competing, it's about yourself, and it kind of has to be. Because you got to be so focused and sacrifice so many things, and sometimes it comes down to other parts of your life, take sacrifice and things. But now it's, like I said, it's sharing my knowledge and experience with as many people as I can to help them on their journey, whether it's they want to compete, step on stage, or just achieve better health.
That's great.
That is my purpose now.
I love that.
And that's come from this. I mean, when I did that first competition in 2014, I didn't know. That wasn't my goal for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's, blossomed kind of into that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that experience is just unbelievable. You've been able to pave a path for other people to follow. Like you said, you're trying to inspire and educate and motivate people. I think you've done a fantastic job to people directly, and as I mentioned earlier, indirectly, you had no idea that you inspired me and motivated me and educated me from afar, which you absolutely have, so I thank you for that. My last question for you is, let's pretend I'm someone who has recently started my fitness journey. I feel like I've been giving it my all, but I'm really plateauing and I'm starting to get a little discouraged. Do you have any words of encouragement for me, or anything that you would suggest that I do to keep the fire and the motivation alive?
I would have to first find out what you've been doing in the past 6 months to a year. Why is it giving you that result or that feeling? And so it's probably something will need to be changed, whether in the workout. Again, reassessing your goals. What have you accomplished so far, and where are you trying to go, and figure out why you're plateauing. So
Couldn't have thought of a better answer. That's proof that he's a top trainer, because most people would have given me a canned answer, maybe a generic words of encouragement. But I can tell you've been doing this for a long time, because you're trying to understand everything that makes me tick, what I've been doing up until this point. So kudos to you. You answered that perfectly. It wasn't a test, but you nailed it. Where can people follow you? Excuse me. Where can people find you, follow you, find out more about you?
My Instagram is Alex Woodson Fitness. My website is aw-fitness.com. Let's see what else. That's about it.
Fantastic.
Facebook, I think, is facebook.com/Alex Woodson Fitness as well.
Okay.
So Everything's Alex Woodson Fitness.
There you go. Alex Woodson
Type that
Fitness.
in, you'll probably find me.
Perfect.
Google me, Alex Woodson, IFBB Pro. You'll find me.
It'll all pop up. You'll see this guy's physique. It's going to blow your mind. Alex, I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure. For everyone listening and watching, please find us on Anchor, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram. Make sure to check out Alex Woodson on all of those platforms as well. Give him a like, give him a follow, contact him if you need any fitness advice. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Till next time, take care. We're out. Nice, man. Good job.
Thanks.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Nice work.